Welcome to Becoming Spiritual, a podcast about the magic that surrounds us and has always been a part of us. I'm your host, Heather Dolan, a passionate seeker dedicated to bringing together beautiful humans who are doing amazing things in this world. Together, we will explore healing modalities and practical spiritual practices that can enrich your everyday life. We will also hear stories of awakenings, many from people in the corporate world who have broken out of the spiritual closet. Wherever you are in your journey, know you have found a community of open-hearted individuals committed to making themselves and our world a better place. Welcome home. Today, I am joined by Sarah Breskman Cosme. Sarah is a leading figure in the realm of metaphysical exploration and enlightenment. As a best-selling author of A Hypnotist Journey to Atlantis, A Hypnotist Journey to the Secrets of the Sphinx, A Hypnotist Journey from the Trail to the Star People, and she's currently working on her next book, so can't wait for that. A master hypnotist and a level 3 practitioner of Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis technique, also commonly known as QHHT, Sarah's dedication to delving into the depths of consciousness knows no bounds. Sarah became a master hypnotist in 2009, after which she trained with Dr. Brian Weiss to be a certified past life regressionist. From there, Sarah went on to train with Dolores Cannon's daughter, Julia Cannon, learning her specialized method called quantum healing hypnosis technique. After many years of dedication and receiving the coveted level 3 practitioner status, which not many people in the world have that, Sarah now assists in teaching with Dolores Cannon's daughter, Julia, all over the world. Her work resonates globally and has earned her a platform on esteemed programs such as Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, Coast to Coast AM, and Gaia TV, where she shares her insights with audiences worldwide. So for those who don't know much about hypnosis, I'm so excited for you to hear this episode. I know it can be intimidating. I know we have a lot of preconceived notions as to what hypnosis is and what it looks like based on what we've seen in current day TV and movies. But QHHT is a really amazing journey inwards where you can connect with yourself, or what Sarah calls the higher self, which is our subconscious, where we are able to get information that otherwise our linear brain with our ego is not really letting us access. So it's really just a way to quiet the mind and to get information that all of us deserve and we have a right to know. So if you think of it that way, it's a bit less intimidating. But Sarah, what I love about her work and why I started following her, and I've been blessed to spend a lot of time with her, she truly wants to help people heal. She believes that using hypnosis, you can heal anything, and we will certainly talk about that a lot. She shares some fun things that she's learned through sessions, and honestly, we could have spent hours just going through advice that she's gotten from clients recently, because she's always getting information from people's higher selves to help the collective, to help humanity, to help us live better lives and to heal ourselves, and helping us tap into our innate wisdom that we all have within us, and just letting some of that guard down so we can access that information. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So I hope you enjoy the episode. And like I said, at the end of it, my hope is really that the subject of hypnosis and even past life regression, that maybe some of those walls come down for you if you have not thought about trying it. I highly recommend finding a practitioner, and there's many out there. I can share lots of recommendations. Sarah, unfortunately, has an extensive multi-year waiting list, but you can always check her website. But we have a lot of hypnosis practitioners in our community, which most have come through me being in Sarah's workshops and groups. So happy to make recommendations if anyone wants to explore practitioners to have a session. And then eventually you can actually do this yourself. And so at some point, I'd love to share some of my experiences doing my own regressions with the help of some other practitioners that Sarah and I talk about. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy my conversation with Sarah Breskman Cosme. I am buzzing today because I'm so excited for today's episode and for you all to meet my friend, Sarah Breskman Cosme, who is joining us. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah. And I feel like, I think the reason I'm so excited about this is you were there when I kind of got this call to start the podcast. And since then, remember, Angela gave me the 911, you've got to start this podcast. And I feel like since then it was like, okay, well, you have to be on an episode. And you were like, of course I'll be on an episode. And I just celebrated a year. And for those that might follow Sarah, know that she is all over the world at any time. We joke, she's like, where's Waldo? So she travels extensively. She's speaking at conferences. She's on TV. She's on podcasts. She has her own content. So just really happy we could make this work. And thank you for taking time out to do it. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Oh, yay. Of course. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm very excited about your podcast and very honored to be here.
Thank you. So outside of what I shared in the intro, tell us a little bit about who you are. And I do want to talk a little bit about your background. And then also, if you could share what hypnosis is. What most people know is what they see on TV or crazy videos of someone being asked to cluck like a chicken or bark like a dog and make a fool of themselves. And that is not the basis for hypnosis. So I definitely want to dig into that so people understand truly the healing modality that it is, because what you bring to hypnosis is so important. So people need to know.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Well, what I do is I write the Hypnotist Journey series books, and I'm also a hypnotherapist. So I bring people to the deepest level of trance, and then I access their higher consciousness. And then I ask directly to their higher consciousness. I ask all the questions that that person wants to know. And also, if it's a hypnosis subject where I'm working on a project, I'll ask specific questions to that hypnosis subject that I then check with other hypnosis subjects that I have. So I consider myself to be a researcher, and a researcher where my method is really to research their subconscious memories, because everyone has a full record of everything that's ever happened to them in every single lifetime that they have experienced or even are experiencing right now. That record is within everyone. So I research using multiple people under hypnosis in that way to try to collaborate and find the correlations that they all share, not only about our past, but about what's going on right now. And then that's how I do my work, basically. I feel like if I only had one person under hypnosis, I really wouldn't be able to believe it. I need to have multiple people. And the ones that I do use for my work, I never let them meet. I have some that you've met that I have used for other projects. That was just amazing. But the way I do my research is very formulated. What is hypnosis?
Yeah.
Hypnosis is actually just focused, deep concentration. That's the definition of hypnosis. So, there is a reason why our temples are called temples. What I do is I help people quiet the prefrontal cortex, and I help them relax their mind so that they can actually tune inwards. All they're really doing is listening deeply to the inner voice within themselves. And it's very easy, and everyone can tune in and listen deeply, but hypnosis makes it a lot easier. People experience hypnosis all the time when they're driving in a car and they forget where they're going. When they're having a daydream, they're experiencing deep hypnosis. When they're experiencing a very strong emotion, that's a very powerful type of hypnosis. They are hypnotized in that moment. And so everybody's been hypnotized. But the method that I use is very different than a stage hypnotist, where a stage hypnotist is looking for very suggestible people. There is a part of the population, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but a part of the population that is very suggestible. And so the hypnotist knows how to find them, and he does certain tricks, and then he sees, oh, wow, there's a whole bunch of people that are very suggestible, and they become the stars of the show. So the thing to know about hypnosis and stage hypnosis and any type of hypnosis is you can never make someone go against their will. because a person has a really powerful protector, and that's the part that I speak with. So their powerful protector within each person, I call the higher consciousness. And nothing could ever happen to you while you're in that state, that more suggestible state, because of that protector. So a person can't actually take your money unless you want to give them your money. And a person wouldn't cluck like a chicken if they didn't want to.
Got it. Thank you. Because, yeah, I know sometimes when we hear this word hypnosis, that we think it's almost pushing us to do things we don't want to do.
Well, there's an agenda to make people not believe in it and also be afraid of it. If you look at some of the movies, they portray hypnosis as being something that really messes the person up. They forget their identity, and then all kinds of crazy things happen. But this is totally not true. It's not the case. In fact, investigators use a hypnotist to hypnotize the witness and bring them back to the scene of the crime. Hypnosis is a powerful tool, even in certain places in India. Everyone has to do a type of past life regression. It's called sadhana, I believe. And in that way, they can actually find out who they really are. So the more that you do hypnosis, or the more you do deep meditation, the more you find out who you really are. And it's very hard to control a person that sees the truth very clearly for themselves. So there would be an agenda to try to make sure people didn't do this. And that is the biggest reason why some religious institutions are against deep meditation and hypnosis. It's actually against their religion to do anything like this. And that's for a reason.
They don't want you to remember. Yeah.
Yes.
There's that agenda. Yeah. Even the deep meditation, it is this meditative state. So for anyone who is meditating, and they will talk about all of a sudden starting to get messages, and they're just so relaxed. And the longer you do it, it's like building up a muscle. And they're so relaxed, and things start coming in. And then it's like, wait, where did that come from? Did you hear that? Like there was a voice or something, which, it's internal. You're hearing these messages, but basically you're helping people get to that state so that that can come through and that they can hear that easier than maybe taking years to learn how to meditate and get into a really deep state.
Right. It's really quick and easy, and people can make changes very quickly. They can learn who they really are, and people even heal themselves all the time. So that's why it's gotten so much popularity.
Yeah. But also why you can see when someone is able to have a session with you or go through this process with someone, attend a retreat, which we'll talk about, the amount of healing that can happen, all of a sudden that's a threat to our existence in this structure of how we pay doctors and we pay for pharmaceuticals and all of these things. It's just, an infinite amount of money that is spent on all of this healing, and knowing that we have everything we need inside, just like we know that there's for every illness, whether it's mental, physical, we know there's also a plant on the planet that is here to heal us. And all of that information has really been buried and is starting to come up now. So it's the same thing of like hypnosis, having this tool as a resource and a way to heal is so powerful, but most people don't realize that's what it is.
Most people wouldn't know, because since birth, most of us have been programmed. I mean, what we're going through right now is a lot of us are trying to deprogram ourselves of these old beliefs, like the old belief that we've all been told ever since we were born, that if there's anything happening to your physical body, that you should quickly go to someone else to diagnose this and tell you what's going on, when this was never the intention of any type of physical issue. Physical issues' intention has always been a deeper message that something is going on emotionally or in your life. And there's a deeper message there. The body's a literal messenger. So we never were taught how to actually read the body, but the body, since it's a literal messenger, is sending very powerful information through physical illness or any kind of issue. And what we are supposed to do is just listen to the body and find out what is the root cause. What is this miraculous machine of our body sending us? It's got so much wisdom. And then once we understand the message, and we've learned from this message, whatever it is, this physical issue is telling us, then it can instantly be released and healed. And that's why people have miraculous healings all the time. It's not so much as someone healed them, it's that they really figured out what it was that this message was sending them. And they, in a sense, are actually healing themselves because there's no need for the body to send that message anymore.
I love that. So just like me and lots of people listening, you're a mom and a wife and a daughter. You have 3 kids. You live down in the Keys. You're doing all this travel to really share all the knowledge that you've gotten and continue to get more research and knowledge to write other books. You've written, is it 4 books now?
4.
4? Yep. And I'm guessing working on the next project, right? The next subject seems to step in right at the right time. So for people who don't know you, you had this kind of discovery in college when you were away from college. And that's kind of what set you on this course of becoming a master hypnotist. So can you just share what that discovery was for you as you found your path?
Yeah, I wanted to be a psychologist. And I was just so gung-ho to help everyone because when I was younger, I had all kinds of problems. I was really overweight. I had phobias and all kinds of fears, and I had so much trouble sleeping at night. When people would talk about an issue, I would get it really fast. I was like so good at manifesting everything just by learning about it. So I was in therapy for over 10 years and nothing ever really got better. I also had OCD. So when people, usually it's kind of funny, not funny, but a lot of my clients will come in and talk about their debilitating problems. And I think in my mind, man, I had that one. That was terrible. I can so relate.
You're like, had that one, but look at me now.
Had that one. Yeah. So what changed my life though was I went to college to become a psychologist. And while I was away, I didn't even know. I was gone 2.5 months. I came back home and looked at myself in the mirror and I just couldn't even believe my reflection because I hadn't really noticed. But while I was away, I had lost a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and it dawned on me that I had forgotten to have my problems, that it was something I was doing. And then I realized, because I thought about it for a second, it would have been funny to see this happen in real time because I was just staring at myself like, I am so different.
Were you like, where's my OCD tendencies? Like I haven't, what happened? Like I'm not checking the door. I don't know what you were doing, but.
Well, I would open and close drawers and flick on and off light switches, like in a certain pattern before leaving the house. It was terrible. It was really debilitating. I just didn't know what it was until I went to therapy. But when I looked at myself, I realized that what had happened was I changed my environment and that triggered me to change my thought patterns. And then I realized that everything was based on my thought patterns. Everything. Every single thing going on is your thought patterns, which ties into really what people right now are so concerned. Like they want to be in the know. They're worried for their family. They're worried for their health. They're worried for themselves because we're so bombarded with things to worry about. And everyone wants to know, what do I need to know so that I can protect everyone? And I've asked this question so many times. And like the answer really is the way to protect yourself and your family is to retrain your thoughts. It's to focus and work on your own belief system. Because what's happening right now is there's so many different belief systems heading at us, so many different, I would say, full-on realities happening for each individual person. You can just investigate this yourself and just notice, how was your experience during COVID? You can easily find someone with a different experience, and their experience was very real to them. And yours might be completely different. Your whole reality during that time and day could have been completely different. So we each have our own perceived reality, and it's very much tied into our belief system. and it would be very chaotic to listen to somebody else's belief system on a reality that you really don't seem to share. But if you believed it enough, it would help you create that if you wanted it to be that. I mean, if you allowed it to be that way. So in order to really help ourselves and family, we really need to watch what is coming into our reality and to change how we want to perceive our reality and what we would like to be, because we are the creator of our reality. And keep receiving this from multiple different clients under hypnosis.
And so for you, you see yourself changing and you're like, oh my gosh, who is this person in the mirror? And so how did that set you on the path of coming to hypnosis and finding the modality?
Well, I thought, oh my gosh, this is life-changing for me. And I realized why I had had all my problems. And it was because I was thinking the same thoughts, doing the same things, getting up and like brushing my hair the same way. And I realized that all it took was a change in these patterns. So I graduated from college, Northeastern, and I went about doing an internship where I really wanted to help people so badly. But I felt within the first week of this internship, where my job, though, even though I wanted to be a psychologist, my job was at this internship to medicate people. So I would administer their medications, and also I would counsel the same patients. And within 1 week, I felt as if every single thing I had learned in college was a lie. And it wasn't just a small lie. It was just really upsetting to think that this is the leading edge of thought to help people, because I just saw how everybody else working there knew that certain medications caused these side effects. And then there would be new tests run on these people. So the pharmaceutical industry was testing these, I want to call them subjects, for their test, not really understanding what they were doing. They were told that these medications were going to be helpful, but nobody ever got any better. They were just being tested on. They would be drooling on the couch like within 45 minutes. And these are people, but they just had no idea they were entering a system of testing and control. So anyway, I wanted to figure out something that would help people actually. And I just didn't care. I wasn't going to do something that wasn't going to help people. So I stopped and I didn't become a psychologist. And instead I thought, well, if I could help people get to the root cause of their issues, then I want to learn how to do that. So I want to be a master hypnotist because I knew I could regress people and find out what happened in their childhood. Then they could retrace their thought patterns. And I thought, well, that will really help people get to their root cause. So in order to become a master hypnotist, I had to learn lose weight, quit smoking, basic regression, hypnosis, and then past life regression. And I thought, are you kidding me? Why do I have to learn this? I don't want.
So that was just like the curriculum in order to become a master hypnotist, was like losing these. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And then it was so obvious when I started practicing that the past life regression therapy really helped people, because I had to do the class. So I would do I know it sounds crazy, but 200 of these in total. So I had a certain amount of lose weight, past life regression. And it was obvious that the past life regression people were healing. They would just come in for one session. And I thought, wow, this is incredible, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I studied with Dr. Brian Weiss. And I know you went to one of his workshops.
I did. I love him so much.
I know.
He's like a big,
so
giant hug.
Yeah, he's so sweet. And I did his method for many years. And then I started seeing clients more and more for that, because I really didn't get that much out of lose weight and quit smoking. I mean,
I was going to ask, did those, would you find that people would do that, but then maybe pick up other habits or go to things because they hadn't actually solved why they were possibly overeating or smoking or whatever?
It really didn't get to the root cause. And I started to see a pattern. And it could motivate a person, definitely. They could quit smoking and they would be motivated to lose weight. It would last a while. But when you haven't gotten to the root cause and the message the body's sending, then the body keeps sending a message. So that has to be addressed for full healing. Or just a feeling, like people can heal themselves with just like an aha moment or a feeling or a deep release. Like when you read a book and you get the goosebumps, you could have just released thousands of years of trauma. You just have an emotional feeling of release. Well, there needs to be something like that, but it just wasn't as effective as like these other methods. So like I said, I did Brian Weiss's and I felt like something was missing. And then I asked a psychic for a psychic reading because I felt like there must be something else. Like I feel like something's missing. And she was the one that said, oh yeah, this is the easiest reading I've ever done. You're supposed to do Dolores Cannon's method. You're going to be writing books and speaking about them all over the world. And you're going to be very busy. And at the time, I was just part-time, like doing this past life regressions. My kids were little, I was a stay-at-home mom for the most part. I just thought, this person doesn't know me at all. I was really polite. And I was like, oh, okay, great. But I thought it was the worst psychic reading I'd ever had. I mean, I couldn't even believe she said that I would be speaking and then writing books. I was like, I'm not a writer. So I didn't even think about it for 6 months until eventually I did find Dolores Cannon popped up on my feed and I checked it out. And then it was funny because I was the first one of like 12 people in the whole world at the time to pass right away when I did the level 3, like the master level. It was just came so easily to me. And I had already had a lot of background, but I just started helping Dolores Cannon's daughter, Julia Cannon, teach it all over the world before the quarantine. So I did just what the psychic said. And then now I speak about it and I write books. Her name is Emmanuelle McIntosh, and she's out of France, but she speaks English.
That's so fun. So plug for her. Good job, Emmanuelle. You were right about all the things. Have you like stayed in touch with her? Like when you wrote your first book, were you like, hey, I did it?
I did. And she was like, at first she didn't even remember my reading and she looked back and just tried to find it, and then she was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine she also, like so many, like you don't remember what happens, what comes through in the sessions. And so it's like, wait, what did I say?
Yeah. Oh, she's really good. I mean,
okay. Well, good to know.
Big plug for her.
Yeah, good for her. So Dolores Cannon's method is called quantum healing hypnosis technique. So QHHT. Yes. It's a specific methodology. It's an organization that has very specific parameters as to how you regress and put people under and how you ask questions and all of that. Because I've been through that as a couple of people have been getting their certification and they have to do a certain number of sessions to get certified as well. But you took that and then you have your own way of between, doing all the work with Brian Weiss's technique and then having all of the QHHT methodologies. And then I think just like what's happening out in the collective, everyone's doing their work the way they're meant to. And we're not meant to just be robots doing things this linear way and that's it. Because especially in the work you're doing, I mean, I'm sure you get so much direction as to different ways you can pull information out of people and how you can help people. So if you were just to be like, oh, I can't ask the question, I have to ask it this way, it would be so sad. You'd miss so much magic.
Right. I think like anyone that does a job, they develop new ways to make things, to tweak things. But I don't tweak the QHHT method. That's the method. And I don't touch that method when I'm doing my own thing. When I do my own thing, it's just literally my own hypnosis method that I often use when I'm regressing people that are coming in specifically for this method or my hypnosis subjects. I never use the Dolores Cannon for that. And anybody that comes to my workshops, I have my own methods that I use at the workshops. And then even for TV, I always use my own method because I find that people go deeper quicker. And also it's just intentionally made so that I can access the higher consciousness in the way that I've learned really helps people the most.
So you're getting information. I think it's really important for people who don't know and follow you, which everyone will, I'm sure, after listening to this. But you're getting information to help people heal and even sometimes just manage their everyday life. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I keep repeating this pattern? And it could be some crazy thing that happened to them multiple lifetimes ago that they don't even know that that's a thing. I would imagine most people coming to you because it's so hard. I know you're booked up for years. They have a little sense of who you are, but I've also been at many of your workshops and people come and show up and they're like, I don't even know who you are, but you just popped into my feed and I just felt this urge to fly across the country and come be here. And I don't know why, which is so amazing because of course we know they're meant to be there in that container, but you're doing this healing work. People are coming to you and the information most of the time is not just about, this moment in time that you had this childhood thing. Could be a childhood thing. But a lot of times you are carrying things from other lifetimes. Because I know when I talk about this, especially in my more corporate world, I can see people's eyes glaze over. What are you talking about? When you say galactics, we're talking about connecting to alien stuff, for lack of a better word. It's not just on this planet. So how do you find people who come to you and they're thinking, I'm just coming to, I had a mean dad or narcissistic parent or whatever, or a terrible teacher and I had this thing and I'm just going to kind of work on this thing. And then all of a sudden they're seeing lives thousands of years ago on other planets. How do you see people reconcile that? Are there still people who are like, that didn't really happen?
Well, it's really up to the individual to decide what they want to believe. But a lot of times when people are under hypnosis, they'll realize that they often have an energetic imprint that is coming, or it's almost like a mark. A lot of times where we have birthmarks, that can sometimes be an energetic imprint from a different lifetime where we left the life at that moment. And what's interesting is they show back up, these energetic imprints, where we're holding trauma or something stored in our body to teach us something that's correlating with our current lifetime. So sometimes your lesson that you're trying to learn in this life or your body's issue is actually a lesson that you've been trying to learn for multiple lifetimes or incarnations. It's not just from this one. It has a deeper feeling to it. For instance, many people right now are trying to learn to stand up for themselves. I feel like collectively, so many of us are trying to learn boundaries. Well, this is something that maybe hasn't just come up this lifetime. This could be many other lifetimes, and there are still energetic imprints or traumas stored in different places in our bodies. The more that we listen deeply to ourselves or do the hypnosis or deep meditation and just asking, all we're doing is exploring and asking questions. Then we can find these things out. We can start to release it, what it is, and we can actually learn the lesson that we came here to learn. Because so many of us are told, and we believe the program, that we should just be covering everything up with alcohol or drugs or, movies, or just whatever, stimulate our mind. But we really came here to learn. This seems like, according to the higher selves of so many clients, there's a reason why this place, this earth, is called a school. And when we get to the other side, as so many people have experienced, we know that we are God. We know that everything is okay. We know that our soul is eternal. But we're here trying to learn certain lessons and trying to learn that we are everything that we see. And that's why we have all these challenges. It's an experience for our soul's growth, really.
Because I know for me, it can feel really fantastical. And I just said this to you on Monday. Having my session with you, I had gone back to 2 different places that I've gone to and I got more information. And I also know that we're given information. So our higher self or higher consciousness is, you said, like a protector part. And so it's never going to show you something that you're not ready for. And so sometimes there might be a bit of a block, right? Where certain information isn't coming through because we're just not in a place to receive it yet. And so there is kind of some protection in place, I guess, for ourselves, right?
Oh, and it happens all the time. We have this protection anyway, like people that have been severely abused many times. They are blocked from seeing this abuse until the time is right and they're ready to see it. That's why people, when they feel called, they feel a nudge. Okay, it's time to start working on this. Then they will go seek help. But if they weren't ready to receive that information, they simply wouldn't. It would just be blocked. And that's the same way that information shows up. I don't receive all the information at once because the higher consciousness of so many of my clients have said, humanity's not ready for that. We're going to give you little bits at a time. And then when we think it's time, then we're going to give you more and more. And they never just let me receive everything all at once. And that's the same goes for any person. But it does feel fantastical to all of a sudden see that, you have extraterrestrial family and things like that to many people. A lot of people, though, when they're deep under hypnosis and they do see things like that, it feels like a very deep sense of knowing that this is correct. What is happening is you are actually going more in tune with your divine essence, with your soul, with your higher self, and you have that deep knowing. And you feel this knowing in a way that feels like as if you are in alignment with this truth. There is no issue with this truth. But when you come out of the session, your conscious mind starts to wake up fully because it was quieted in the session. Your conscious mind starts to wake up fully and tries to get you to start to doubt everything. This is the same thing that happens when you're driving in a car. You see 3 billboards that are like, you need to do this. And you're like, oh my God, that was a sign. And then your conscious mind is like, wait, no, it wasn't. That was just a coincidence. It's the same kind of thing that happens to everyone. But really, it seems like we are so multidimensional and we have access to all these things. We've just been programmed with a whole bunch of stuff to throw us out of balance. Not only are we thrown out of balance with the different seasons and with April Fool's Day being for the fools because that was the beginning of the new year in the old calendars and systems. And September means 7. So not only is our calendar thrown off because it used to be 13 months and we used to move with the cycles of women and the cycles of the moon, and we had more alignment with the earth. Everything is thrown off and we're broadcast with fear and programs and things like that. And the more we quiet our mind and try to tune back in, go into these sessions or meditation or just be with nature, then the more we can start to develop our sensitivities again and really get to know our deeper selves. And sometimes when we do that, we realize that we're connected to star beings and fairies and things like that seem fantastical, but it's just because we can't perceive it with the way that we perceive our reality. We do have like a filter, a veil, but if we could see the truth of everything that's right here, there's so many more beings around that we just can't perceive because of our own frequency and our own belief system. It just allows you to open up to new possibilities.
Yeah. It really opens up the magical doors. And I feel like you were saying with the billboard, it's like we can look at that as a synchronicity. And I remember driving back the first time I met you, I was lucky enough the universe cleared the way for a session to open up on a time frame that worked for me a couple of years ago. And I got to drive down and meet you in the Keys. And I remember coming back and I was replaying the session because you always think when you come out of it, I remember everything. And then you start listening to the replay and you're like, oh, wait, I totally forgot that happened. Like you just think my conscious mind is going to remember all of it and you just don't. But I remember seeing actually multiple billboards and they were so specific. It was ridiculous. And I was like, who would put that on a billboard that I just drove past at, 10 o'clock at night driving back towards the airport? And you can choose, like you can either choose to believe in the magic and the synchronicity, or you can be that person that says, nope, that was just a coincidence. Pff, forget it. And it's kind of like, which reality do you want to be in? And everyone has a choice. Like we're all here. We have free will, which means you can choose what you're going to do with this life. But if you look at it as magic, it makes everything so much better.
Yeah.
Magic is everywhere.
But magic literally is everywhere. In all the ancient memories people have when they're under hypnosis, we used magic. We understood that we ourselves are magical creatures. We have electrical current running through our bodies. We are totally capable of creating our own spells, healing ourselves, becoming our own shamans, and connecting with fairies and becoming magical. We are magical. The only reason that we don't really realize this is because of programming.
For sure. So tell me, what are a couple things from your sessions? Because it must be overwhelming because you're getting so much information. So you're getting a lot of information that ends up going into your books because it's meant for humanity to know this information. And the first book of yours that I read, which thank goodness I had a friend who was reading it at the same time, because we would just text the like brain head exploding emoji like 10 times a day with the information in it. I started with the Sphinx and then went back to Atlantis. And it felt so true when you talk about resonating with information. I was reading this and I was like, I know this in my being that this is true. And it felt like slowly, like, layers were being peeled away from my eyes of, oh, yeah, that thing that I've been told, that's not real. And that we're taught in school, like, that's not real. And so it's this comfort, but it's also can feel a bit alienating, which is interesting using that word alienating. But isolating maybe, where you're like, oh my gosh, I have like the secrets of the universe and people are going to think I'm crazy and put me in a mental institution, which is what happened in the books, that this woman gets put in this mental institution. And so I was so grateful to have a friend that at least we could go back and forth, because I don't know if I could have contained myself. And then luckily I like looped my sister in and then my mom in. So we were all, my mom was listening and struggling a little bit because it was so much. And coming out of these very structured religious upbringings, it can be hard to think, wait, God didn't just plunk Adam and Eve down and like that's how everything started, and think that we were seeded by a very intentional project to have us here as humans. But it must be, I just think of all this information coming through. So you've got information that goes into your books. You've got information that you share through all of your resources, YouTube and Patreon and on Gaia and TV shows. Is it overwhelming with, I feel like every day you could be changing, oh my gosh, I can't do this now. I can't do that now. And we both eat similarly. We're both plant-based and gluten-free because we know that information's come through, that it's good. But then there are some people who are, supposed to be, I guess, carnivores because that resonates with them. But I remember you said to me recently, we were talking about nail polish. And it's so funny because I almost put nail polish on and then I was like, wait, no, I know it's not good for me. And you were like, yeah, no, I've learned about that nail polish is like covering things up on our nails. So like talk about that, but then that's like a microcosm of all this information you're getting. Is it overwhelming where you're like, I could change 10 things every day as I learn more information about how I should be healthier, how I could be mentally healthier, physically healthier, how I could engage with this or that? Like, is it a lot?
Well, I mean, it always comes down to what you believe though, because you are the creator of your own reality. So literally, you could just totally earmuff that one with the nail polish, and just be like, a nail polish is good for me, because you literally have a power to do that. But sometimes I get very consistent reports from the higher self of many clients that don't even know, talking about like things. And I know that I start to think, wow, I think I will do this. Like gluten. I don't eat any gluten for sure, ever. Because I've just so many my clients investigating the gluten and seeing where it's tied to and things like that. I'm like, please never touching. And that's been years. I don't know when I quit, but it was just so much. I was like, oh my gosh, no thank you on that one. But it really just depends on the individual and what you believe and what you really believe though. And so I don't want to ruin people's opinion about nail polish because I know I used to love having nail polish. So,
Yeah. And what did you learn? Because I've actually struggled too. And I'm like, oh, I want to have, it feels natural, but then it feels like hippy dippy to, especially working in New York City and you're traveling and you're in front of people. And so we've been programmed that like, oh, having natural nails is ugly. Like you're not taking care of yourself. Almost not ugly. That's a harsh
like not professional. I know.
It doesn't look professional. Like you're not put together and putting in time in our appearance. But then it's like, just like with my hair, like I'm not dyeing it anymore. And like I don't want someone to tell me that I have to do this. So why is the nail polish different? So so what did you learn about nail polish?
Okay, it started happening where my clients under hypnosis were talking about the 3-eye atlas and all the solar codes that people were being exposed to. And there's so many celestial events happening right now with the intention of trying to wake people up because what it is we're already holding a lot more light and frequency in our field than we were 20 years ago. And we're being broadcast with a lot of information and a lot of light and frequency. And people do say the word code sometimes, And I know that there's a portal through the sun. And when we get unfiltered sunlight, it goes straight through our pineal gland and it's downloading tons of information into our bodies. And so recently, with the recent broadcasting of new light, new information, the higher selves of multiple clients has said one way there has been an agenda on women who are already so incredibly powerful, and their power is in their fascia, in their nervous system. And there's a reason why there's been an agenda not only to get them to think differently, like a more masculine thought pattern.
Competition, comparing ourselves, all of those things.
All of it. That there's also an agenda to put a certain chemical and plastic on their nails, thinking that they have to do this to be like presentable or whatever. But this actually inhibits so we're full of biophotons. It inhibits the excretion of biophotons. Like in the olden days in people's memories, we used our fingers and our nails as wands. And so if you have plastic on it, it can inhibit this.
Doesn't work.
Actually, we have power. Talk about magical frequencies in our hands and our fingernails. And like you can even charge your wands and your antennas. They're like antennas. So if you put plastic coating on it, it can inhibit this process, is what I've learned. So I just took mine off. Nobody has to do that. You could totally believe it's good for you and earmuff this whole part if you like it. Because I know I was really upset, but I started to receive this from a lot of people under hypnosis. So I just wanted to see what it would be like. And now I haven't worn it in a couple months now. And I don't think
you cast spells with your fingers like magic wands?
I mean, I don't notice anything, but I am going to go to Egypt soon, and I'm planning on like just seeing what happens with all the different light there. But it's everybody's choice. Like nothing ever happens to you without your own permission. It's just whatever you believe makes it the most powerful. So
yeah, and I feel like sometimes planting that seed where. Even for me with hair dyeing, like it's like I knew it was something I wanted to give up and I just didn't feel like I could get there. And I finally had that moment where it was like, this resonates so deeply with me. All the other reasons fall away. And I feel like that's where we get to with a lot of these things, like information that we get.
Well, in my book, A Hypnotist Journey to Atlantis, it was interesting that some people were born with these like white, gray streaks. And that was like a sign of wisdom that came through from the Pleiadian star system. So every now and then there'd be someone born and that showed like information. Because if you think about your hair as antennas and even the indigenous culture understanding this, there's a lot more to our hair, our fingernails, and things like that because we're magical electrical beings. And it's our nervous system and our fascia that's really like being attacked in so many ways that we can create anything. We literally can, even our own reality, if we just try to practice or take the time to listen to ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some other things that have come through that you think are practical recently, like through clients that you're like, okay, here's a couple of, and I'd had Crystal on and she had channeled and talked about like water and sun and taking that in. And so those are really important things. So what's some other stuff that's come through your clients where you're like, okay, if there's a couple of things that you should know, and it doesn't have to be you don't wear nail polish anymore, but I think take that information for what it is. But what are some things that you're hearing through clients right now for kind
Oh
of
my
like
gosh.
survive what this craziness that we're in right now?
Right. Oh, to survive the craziness that we're in. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, there's so much. Let me think of something really practical. I mean, in the ancient cultures, they would do practices where they would allow sun to hit their solar plexus. And there's a reason why it's called solar plexus. It'd be like the seat of
Ah,
the soul. And so if you're working with light nowadays, because the light is changing, like even our sun is turning whiter, if you do that ancient practice where you let the sun hit your solar plexus, and there's a reason why they always didn't cover their solar plexus in some of
ah.
these ancient cultures, you connect your solar plexus to the sun and you use it and you send that energy through your whole body. Also, many people remember that the use of different metals, like when they found the obelisks in Egypt, they realized that there was a metal coating on it. It was called electrum. It was a mixture of gold and silver. But using certain metals and putting them on energy centers in our bodies can have profound effects. Like when people remember Atlantis, they remember they used gold all the time and they would go again in the sun because the sun was worshipped in a sense. And they would have sun hit gold on their energy centers. Some people in ancient texts, you can even see depictions where they put like a crystal or copper around their third eye. And it's a conductor if you think of our body as an energy system.
Uh-huh.
You could use copper like they used to use in the ancient times. If you put like copper around your ankles, it helps ground you to a different degree. And it also, if you put copper around your wrists, they would use it to connect with Venus and to connect with different information. So the metals that we don't really know how to use these days, we can go back to that. Let's see, as far as like practical tools, all the practical tools are the cheapest and easiest. Like just
Breath,
working with
like
your
you talk
breath,
about breath, right?
breathing in deeply. Every time I do a workshop, I always do the breath. I show people like the breath of fire. You can use your breath for anything. People have healed themselves just using their breath. They've healed themselves just by setting intentions in their water. So really, the whole truth is that you are the powerful conductor and it's what you believe. So you can just think of a whole new one and be like, this is my new practical tool because I'm a wizard. Because
Yep.
you literally are a wizard.
Yeah.
You literally are. And you can heal anyone using your hands. It's another thing I think people don't know that they knew very well in the ancient cultures is that mothers can heal their kids very easily with their hands, with their thoughts, with their meditations. And especially mother through daughter, you can instantly heal through that lineage with the XX chromosome. And so, like, I know you know my mom, but I would always use
Uh-huh.
her, put her under hypnosis, and then use her to heal my children. And
Really?
actually, my son used to have a vocal tick that went away overnight. And then when he was in preschool, he had warts on his arm that went away overnight.
Wow. Go, Phoebe.
I know, right? I know. So people don't realize how powerful the mother really is. And that's another thing we've been lied to.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, yes, that's a whole nother episode, but okay, that's amazing. So I have been the beneficiary of your wisdom and teachings at many workshops in person. So Sarah does workshops because her time, it's difficult to get time with her to do one-on-one. I know you have limited spots, to come see you. in the keys to do one-on-one hypnosis sessions. And so doing these workshops, you're able to help 30 to 40 people at a time and bring them together. But also it creates these reconnection to our soul families. Like you talk about when we first get together and everyone's introducing themselves, that, you're literally meeting people that you have definitely shared lifetimes with. Usually you kind of gravitate towards a few people, but there's always messages that come through for the whole group of how we don't even know, just being in each other's energetic fields, we're healing things for each other. We're helping release things. We're getting information that might not come out in that moment, in that weekend, but we go home and all of a sudden something's changed or shifted. And it's just sometimes by being in each other's presence. And it's so powerful. And so you create these containers to have people gather. And then you also lead these amazing trips, which it's going to happen, where you go to Egypt. Well, you go to many places. I know you just went to Hawaii, went to Costa Rica, you have Bali coming up. But Egypt seems to be, I know you promised, and we're getting this on recording, that you're not going to stop leading those trips before I can go. And you said, no, this is part of your mission.
I love it.
Yeah. You know that it's part of your mission. You go there, it's like home. And so how is Egypt so special to you? Because you do so much there, so much work. And what do you go, 3 or 4 times a year?
This year I'm doing 3 times.
Okay.
I love it because the temples, the places, they have a consciousness. They are so powerfully charged. And I absolutely love taking people there because I know that they're not going to be the same person when they're done the trip. And they're not. They're literally more in alignment with who they are. And also for me too, personally, I'll go there and things happen so quickly when I go there. And I've seen people heal themselves. I've healed. I mean, I really feel like it's like a fast track to like whatever work you're doing. You just go there in this highly charged places and you get to feel the different energy currents. I mean, every temple was built on specific energy centers. So when you walk through there, the temple is created to actually work with your energetic field and actually helping you in so many different layers. So it's purifying you, it's giving you information. And my goal is really to help people tune into themselves and see what information they are supposed to receive in these places. That's my goal. And with the workshops, I love bringing people together because people feel so alone and they're not at all. So I'm like, you are not alone. Just wait till you go to the workshop because there's so many other people exactly like you. And I love building these communities. I think that's so important right now to have people to draw on for support. People really need support and one another.
Yeah, for sure. And now you have, you've been on YouTube. You had to rewrite your first book, Atlantis, because there was stuff in there about the pandemic and sickness, right? So you had to kind of redo that because Amazon pulled your book and all that nonsense. And so you just re-released that, right? And you put new content in there, which is cool. So you can get that. But also with YouTube, you're shifting also to subscription on Patreon, where you're offering more of a private community, I guess you'd say, a place where it's uncensored, right? It doesn't have to be censored.
Right. Finally. Finally I moved to I knew I had to do that when my book got banned and then when I got demonetized on YouTube. And then it was just really obvious. It's like, how do I share the information I've received when there's like huge part of the population, or not a huge part, but a part of the population that wants to censor this information? I mean, God forbid people learn how powerful they are. I mean, it's basically the message in different forms. And so I moved my uncensored community, and it's a private community, to Patreon. And that's where I'm posting my full sessions. And I'm also filming, and you were a part of it, a show called Between Worlds. So it's literally real people having real sessions. And it's a way that you can actually heal yourself through watching someone else. So it's something I've learned is really helpful for people because we're all the same. We're all going through very similar things. And everybody can relate to the people who volunteer, like Heather.
Yeah. Yes. And at some point I'll be on there. And I was very grateful because getting time with Sarah one-on-one is just special and, a privilege. But I think something you said is really important in that when you watch these things, because I think most of us would think of watching a hypnosis session like reality TV. Like, oh, I'm just watching someone else's life. So like, what am I getting out of it? Why would you waste your time doing that? And the fact that messages will come through while it might be my experience and I'm sharing something, that might be information that you need, that just like with your books, as those subjects were under and sharing information, I knew that was activating stuff within me. It's like I could feel it. And there were so many aha moments. And so I think it's like almost reframing what we've been taught of like, it's not going on Instagram and just watching everyone's reels about investing money and turning their house into their dream home and having the perfect food and house and bedroom and clothes or whatever. Like this is actually healing. When you're watching these sessions, you're activating things, right? And so I just think like shifting that mindset a bit of, oh my gosh, I'm going to go spend an hour watching someone under hypnosis. Like, why would I do that? And there's a purpose. There's a reason that people are being called to do that. And it's because they will receive healing.
When I first started writing my books, the higher self told me that. They said that if I put this information into the books, that people wouldn't have to experience it. They could just heal themselves. So when you go through any of these sessions, if you can go through them and see how you relate, because we all can relate to one another. We're all going through very similar things. So as you watch these shows and these segments, you can just ask yourself, how do I relate to this? And can I learn something? Because there's so much to learn from everyone. And so many times under hypnosis, a client will share, well, I went through this really tough thing in order to help other people. Well, I'm just bringing that forward, because I hear that all the time. And it really does help other people when somebody talks about what they went through and the information that they need to help them heal helps other people going through similar things. So I already have a lot of episodes on my YouTube and on Patreon now of many different clients, but these are professionally filmed. So it helps you as a viewer really feel like you are there too.
Can't wait for all of that to come out. So we will share all of that information. But if people want to find you on Patreon, do they just go onto patreon.com and then look for Sarah Breskman Cosme and they can find your channel?
Yeah, should be easy.
Okay.
And I have lots of cool perks. Like I'm even doing April 28th, Ask the Higher Self Anything, where I'm bringing Yolana on and I'm hypnotizing her live. And then the audience gets to ask questions. So you can ask anything. And I do these at my workshops too.
At some point, I would love that, if I'm able to be a channel in this way to get information for other people, it would be so magical because watching Yolana, Crystal, Christy, people that I've gotten to see in person, even how Angela channels, which is different. She trans channels. It's not like you're doing hypnosis, but other people that have come to these workshops where they're able to tap in, they're getting information for you, but not just you. Usually it's the collective or people around you that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think to ask that, but I have to share that. Like Lyme's disease, for instance, I feel like always comes up because someone has Lyme. And learning the true root of that, which so many healers have put out information about it, but we're still bombarded with, no, it's because you got bit by a tick and you have to be on prescription pharmaceuticals forever because your body's fighting itself and all these things. And so we get this information and it's really meant to be shared with others.
It's meant to be shared. But we're all in this together. And I think that's really helpful to develop these communities, to share what it is that we are working on. And that just keeps helping other people. It activates them. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I just think, people at this point, I think, are comfortable saying, oh, I could go to a psychic and they could give me this information. And I feel like when you put people under and you're in touch with their higher selves, it's basically the same thing because they're answering questions. Like when you can write in a question, they're answering questions for you. They're getting that information from their higher self and your higher self to give you this information. So they're really just a channel, just like a psychic almost would be.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like the new age, like psychic, for lack of a better word, I feel like, with the work how you're able to get this information from people and get them what they need.
Well, it's very similar to Edgar Cayce. So Edgar Cayce, he was called the sleeping prophet, and he would go under hypnosis and he would receive information from his higher self about these other people. And that's what I'm doing. I'm putting my hypnosis subject under hypnosis and asking the higher self. It's very similar. And I love using really clear hypnosis subjects for this. And It's incredible the information that comes up. And it's really funny to watch them too, because sometimes they'll say, oh, wow, this is really interesting. I'm seeing this.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I want to do it. I don't know, I have to work on that muscle, I think, because I want to see, when they do share, oh, they're showing me this. And does this resonate for you? And it's they're getting these clear pictures and messages to share with whoever that person is. And usually it's applicable for not just that person, but other people that are tuning in. So I'm sure when you've got 1,000 people on a live, that message is meant for, a good chunk of people that are getting that information, even though one person asked the question.
For sure.
Everyone's coming to that event because they're meant to be there and there's information that's meant to be shared. So if you feel called, just like with anything, if you're feeling the call for a retreat, for a trip, even to attend a live event, chances are it's because your higher self wants you to be there. And so if it keeps coming up in your feed, yes, we can say algorithms are feeding us stuff, sure. But also we know our team of light is able to very easily manipulate energy, especially electronic stuff. So they can send us messages through our social media. If that is where we're spending time, which a lot of people are, they might keep sending you this thing and you're like, oh, it's the algorithm feeding it. It also could be your team trying to say wake up, you need to go to this thing, sign up for this, right? It's not just marketing.
For sure. Yeah, I have a workshop coming up in August with Timothy Hogan. He has so much information when it comes to Knights Templar because his grandfather were Knights Templar, and now he's considered the Grand Master of the Knights Templar. So he's going to be teaching, and I'm going to be teaching, and I'm going to be doing hypnosis sessions for the group. And it's going to be a great way to connect with other people. And I also have another Egypt trip that's very special. I have a trip that's coming up in 2027 where the line of totality, the eclipse, goes over Luxor, Egypt. And so I'm bringing people there. We'll meditate under the eclipse and create a new reality. And I have a retreat going to Bali in October, which is going to be soul nurturing with elephants.
Yeah. I know. I saw the elephant pictures and I was like, I want an elephant. Everyone washing the elephants and engaging with the elephants. And I'm like, they're so magical. Yeah.
I
so
know.
Beautiful.
I'm very excited. And those
are
you
like,
babies.
This is my life. You're like, this is my life. I get to do these things.
I know.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you. We will share all the information because the one retreat is in August. The Bali, when did you say that is? October?
Bali is October 3rd through 12th. Okay. But it's booking up so fast. So, oh my God, it's at this amazing retreat center called Soul Shine Bali, which Jolie, who I'm doing this with, said when she got to her room, she cried because it was so beautiful and magical.
Wow. That's amazing. And then you're even doing a Glastonbury trip next year too, right?
I am. And a Glastonbury trip in April, which is going to be lots of fun. I'm doing it with my hypnosis subject, Christy, and Yulana, who will be channeling for everyone coming. And we're going to be going to Stonehenge privately and the Chalice Well and things like that. So it's going to be an amazing experience. Each retreat that I do, I kind of have help from the higher self to help me plan this. Not my higher self. I'm talking about investigating.
Yes.
How can I help the people the best way that I can?
Yeah. I love it. And then you curate these places and bring everyone, and it's a love fest. If you follow any of the groups or you see Sarah's posts on social media or people who are on the trips, just all the experiences that they're sharing are just so awesome. And then you have FOMO that you missed out and you're not there. So then
so everyone just needs to come.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm so grateful we could have this conversation and appreciate everything you shared. And I hope people feel if you've kind of maybe felt this call for hypnosis or even just been curious or think, oh my gosh, how can I navigate this craziness that's going on around us? This could be a really good tool, even just reading Sarah's books. I feel like there's a lot of calm in there, despite how it's very multidimensional, but it also lets us know, like, we've been here before. Like, this is not new. We're not new to this planet. We've had so many different situations where we have gone through difficult times. And yes, sometimes, we've had to destroy things and start over. But we've been told that that's not happening this go around and that we're on a good path and that more people are awakening. And so even through Sarah's books, I feel like there's this call and this activation that can happen. So I highly encourage anyone who hasn't read them you can go on Audible. They're available on audio. Sarah doesn't read them, but all the content is there and you can get that content there. And then we'll share all the retreat pages. So all the events that are coming up, if anything spoke to you and you're like, oh my gosh, that resonates, definitely check it out and go and you won't be sorry. Well, thank you. I'm so grateful for the time today. I'm glad we could finally do this. Can't wait to see what all transpires with the Between Worlds show and all the stuff you're doing on Patreon where you can finally be free and not censored. So it's an amazing, magical thing. Yay! All right. Well, until next time, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm grateful. And thank you again, Sarah, for being here and sharing all of your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your precious day to listen to our podcast. If this episode resonated with you, we would love for you to share it with someone you love. That would mean the world to us. Also, if you feel called, please follow our show so you will know when a new episode drops. If you want to go one step further, you can even rate this episode as it allows our podcast to find its way to others. Lastly, we've done our best to share resources that you might find helpful in the show notes, whether that's a book recommendation or a website we referenced during the episode, a free resource, or more information on a guest who took their time to speak with us and share their knowledge. We would love for you to support their work too. You can find more information on our podcast website at becomingspiritual.me. We love you and can't wait for you to hear the next episode. Until then, know you have a place where you are welcome and you are loved. Welcome home.